The list of African Americans who have died at the hands of police are long. The recent death of an unarmed black man in Minneapolis, George Floyd, triggered a worldwide protest calling out the injustice within the U.S. judicial system. A group in St. Lucia dubbed Black Lives Matter St. Lucia says now is the island's turn to play its part and stand in solidarity with Black America in its call for justice. Member of the Black Lives Matter St. Lucia, Aaron Alexander, says the island is no stranger to its own troubles with police brutality and extrajudicial killings.
Black Lives Matter group in St. Lucia, we are putting together this peaceful protest, and I stress on the word peaceful because we see in America where the police are embracing protesters. You know, they're all crying together with what's happening in America. We've had our fair share of police brutality. We had the Shaka Dan Daniel case here, no justice for Shaka Dan Daniel. Recently, Arnold Joseph, a 17-year-old young man killed by police. You know, in the case of Rastafari in St. Lucia, we had the Mount Jimmy raid where hundreds of Rastafari people were abused and brutalized and jailed, and some of them were even murdered. So we have our fair share of police brutality in St. Lucia that we want to highlight and bring these things to the fore. So as much as we're standing in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement from America, but we bring it down to our local stage here in St. Lucia and seeing what we are going through as a people.
The call for persons to come out and support the movement organized for 9 a.m. to 12 noon on Friday, 12 June, was echoed by another member of the BLM St. Lucia movement, Peter Rasiper Isaac. He says the protest looks to provide solace to Americans in their time of unrest, as they did following the killing of St. Lucian-born Botham Jean at the hand of a police officer in the U.S.
When he was killed by a white policewoman in America. And we said that the Americans stood up and they supported the move against that kind of, the way he was slain in such a brutal way in his own apartment. So we want to stand in reciprocity with our brothers again, because they did that. We have to help and supporting them too as well. But generally, this is not anything with partisan politics. We want to make this abundantly clear. This is something that we are doing in solidarity with Black Lives Matter.
Isaac dismissed criticism that the movement is jumping on the bandwagon.
This is about us. This is about our race. This is about our ancestors. This is about our people who have suffered. And this is not about us trying to play any kind of situation as if we just want to do it because some other places are doing it, so we're trying to do it just following fashion. No, this is something that is coming from our heart. And you know the kind of people we are, especially the Rastafarian people in St. Lucia and other persons who are involved, black people. So we are doing this not for ourselves and also for our future. And we're looking for some serious declaration of something out of all of that.
Moreover, Alexander hopes that the protests come Friday, 12 June at Constitution Park will lead to a separate body that will investigate police matters, institutes body cameras for police, and the reallocation of police funds to social programs.
When there's some kind of police brutality situation where police investigating police, we want that to stop. These things cannot be acceptable in this time. Police should not be left to investigate police wrongdoing. So this is another aspect. Quite apart from body cam, etc., we're calling for these things to stop, for police not to be the ones investigating police. We also want a level where there's some issues going on now, or some thinking in some quarters about defunding the police. Now, some people might interpret that wrong. The defunding of police doesn't mean you dismantle the police force, but you could allocate sources from the police to go to other institutions, especially social services, whereby if you have a situation where you have a mentally challenged person causing havoc in a community, instead of the police moving in, and in some cases they start using lethal force, you could send in probably a counselor, you could send in a psychiatrist, somebody that could negotiate and talk to that mentally challenged person to see if they could get them to calm down, instead of the police now having no patience and just shoot the person dead.
Alexander says social distancing protocols and the wearing of masks will be in full effect for the peaceful protests of Black Lives Matter St. Lucia. There is currently a ban on mass crowds under the state of emergency. However, there appears to be recent relaxation of the rules, with the election campaign season getting off to a rollicking start in some communities. Solange Alfred, HTS News Force.